Buddha is the second Buddha because he's initiated the whole Mahayana movements. That's why in Zen traditions, in Tantric traditions, in Pure Land traditions, in the school of consciousness only, or this school constantly has the pages, the powers. That's why consider him the second Buddha. So today I want to talk briefly about what we call emptiness. That's what we discussed about. It's one of the most important teaching of Narayana. So we'll go briefly again. Narayana is the one who advocates what we call the middle path. This is the doctrine of Madhyamika. This is the doctrine of the middle path. And he discusses about what we call sunyata and two truth. And so today we want to discuss briefly so that you can understand about what's meant by sunyata or emptiness. Probably you may not. Probably you have you heard anything about emptiness idea before? What's about? Who working on this number? Actually, who wrote your paper?
I've heard about this one.
What's about?
Yeah, so basically, Narayana talked about the middle way between it's kind of about not self-indulgence, but not self-glorification either, but middle path. And emptiness isn't necessarily that there's nothing, that nothing exists, but that I'll have to pull up the last time. I thought I remember.
That's okay. That's all. Say something about emptiness. Yes.
I forgot what I was going to say actually. Could you come back to me?
Yes.
I said I forgot what I was going to say. Could you mind coming back?
What's the meaning of emptiness in Buddhist views? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So the idea is like that everything that we give meaning to things. That's why it's in reality it's empty because we give it meaning. I think. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay. Usually in the West, when we talk about I feel empty, what's mean? Yeah, is that right? I feel sad, I feel empty, nothing I want to do. I feel depressed, is that right? And that's why many people, when they associate with these terms, emptiness, they call that, that's depression, but that's quite different. Emptiness here, again, it doesn't mean emotionally empty there, right? When you don't want to do anything, you lost hope of everything. That's quite different. Emptiness in ethic, that's mean when someone did some mistake and everything is empty. That's not the idea. Makes sense? Another one is meditation. In Buddhism, we have what we call the pure emptiness. Do you know the number?
11.
Yeah, thank you.
18.
Okay.
Did you get me?
Yes. You are the last one. Right? You got that?
34.
All right, so in meditation, sometimes, let me tell you a funny story. A few years ago, when I flew back from Alabama, Jacksonville. Jacksonville, Alabama, right? Yeah, I flew back from that airport to to Louisville, Kentucky, and I met one gentleman. And in the course of our conversation, I asked him, "Do you know how to do meditation?" He said, "Yes." And then I asked him, "How?" He said, "After my meditation, I wake up." You understand that? Is that meditation? No, sleeping. And nothing that you sit there and fall asleep and we wake up. No, that's not meditation. Actually, in meditation, sometimes we follow these two things that we encounter. First is that we fall into this sleepiness, state of mind. And the other one is the crazy mind. The monkey mind, the inner sleep. So that's the two obstructions that we used to encounter. So, but sometimes when people enter that state of mind, they feel empty. But especially if you are experienced meditators, it's quite different. When you go there, if you are more alert, you're more aware with that kind of, let's say, that emptiness, but with some kind of awareness is so important. If you enter that state of mind, everything is empty and you get lost, that's true emptiness. Okay? So I just want to explain briefly about that. Let me discuss again. So again, what's meant by emptiness then? Here, that's what we think, right? Emptiness, right? Emptiness, thought, desire, getting done, can you feel good? It's like a cycle of emptiness. This is in the Western idea, right? This is not the emptiness in Buddhist view. The Buddhist word is selfless, the non-existent, existent, compound things and so forth, form, consciousness. That is the idea I want to show you this. Here, form, definition, ambiguousness, separateness, boundlessness, permanent, presence. So this is two opposites. Remember when we study about the first sutra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. You know what I mean? See the car. The composition of the cars are all car parts. We can take out the engine, we call it car. No. We have to have engine, the wheel, and so forth, all kind of components so that we put together and we call as a car. But when we take away the wheel, the engine, there's no more car. So the car is just the conventional way, the temporal way to identify as object that we recognize, we associate with, and even with our body. We have all kinds of organs. Right? If we lack of one of these organs, we won't be here. So our body is the composition of things. So there's our computer, laptop, and so forth. So that's why, if we understand that form is emptiness. Let me go back here. What is mean form is emptiness? That's before. Okay, they make part of this part, right? The manufacturers, they make all this part, engine, the wheel, the frame, and so forth. They put together as a car. If they have not, they don't produce this car parts. There's no way for us to call the car. And even let's say 100 years before, or let's say 200 years before, here is empty land. Is that right? Now we have a school. So how does this school last forever? No, let's say 1,000 years. Yeah, this may last 1,000 years or 2,000 years. Who knows? And we'll be gone. So that's what we call form is emptiness. Emptiness is form here. All right. So that's what. Okay, let me go down here too. That's so that why the Buddha teaching emphasize, especially Naruto, emphasize on this type of theories, emptiness. For what? Yes?
Because it tells us that we're all one, that we're all like the same, of the same substance, basically.
Beyond that, and what else? There's some more principle. Here. Here. You see? So your car has some problem with the brake. It's normal, right? Because we use for a while and has some problem. Even our body, sometimes we be sick and one day we may be gone. And so the idea is to recognize the reality of life, so that we won't attach too much. The more attachment happens, the more we suffer. That's the whole idea. You understand that? And in the emptiness principle, it says further that it's not his that nothing lasts forever, and everything come in the web of life. You know what I mean, right? I depend on you, you depend on me. We depend on each other. We depend on our parents, our community, society, and so forth, and vice versa. Yes.
I never understood that. Like, why do we depend on others? Like, why?
Why?
Yeah, like
we
why?
We cannot live in isolation by ourselves. There's no way.
No. It's just like why?
Why?
It's just like why does the other person? Why is the other person's existence dependent, or why is your existence dependent on another person's existence?
It's universal. It's common sense. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, but of course, like you go to school. Yeah, you are the one who put effort in having good grades and so forth. But of course, it depends on the professor, on the school, on the parents, siblings, and so forth. But you are the one who decides for your karma. That's what the idea is. The idea of emptiness is that there's no real self. But when we talk about Buddha nature, we can see it quite different. Understand now? So, let me tell you a funny story too. There's one man. He recited Thich Sutra many times. And he said, yes, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So he one day he attended a special celebration at the temple. And the abbot, that's mean the one who head up that temple, asked his followers to set the table for people who would enjoy the food. But in front of him, he just put a bowl with the ash. All the people, he put foods, food and so forth. So when that gentleman, he sat there and looked at his bowl with the ash, and so he complained, all the people eating the food, but not me. So the abbot, the head monk came and told him, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. The ash is the food. The food is ash, so you can eat that. You understand what I'm talking about? So it means, yes, someone understands, but if you put into practice, it is more realistic way of life. Otherwise, like I say, it's empty talk. You understand that? So that's why here, no ego, that is important here. So that whichever thing happen to you, in practical sense, just try your best and let go. Otherwise, you attach. Let me give you one example. Talking about, let's say, the grade debt, your rate. Let's say you try your best to study math, English, and so forth, right? But somehow, when you work out, when you got the test back from your professor, somehow so desperate. Instead of A, and now you have C. You depressed, mostly, right? But if you understand this concept, okay, I should try my best. And of course, depend upon how much I study first somehow. We don't blame on karma, but still, we can accept that and go on much better. Or even in the relationship too, right? Boyfriends, girlfriends, it happen. Actually, couple days ago, one lady, she brought her son to the temple. Actually, that son, that young man, he's here. He's US student, but he dropped out because of his girlfriend. He's so depressed. He doesn't want to do anything. It's really sad. Yeah, it sometimes happens too. Is that right? Sometimes, yeah.
So he dropped out because of why?
Because he's broke. He broke with his girlfriend.
Oh, he broke up with her.
Yeah, he broke up with his girlfriend. That's why he's so depressed that he could not do anything. That he dropped out of school. Some students, it's happened to some students, right? So be strong. So the point I want to bring out this story is that when we have some problem or conflict with someone else, we try our best to mend that relationship. Otherwise, we move on. If you stick with that, if we stop with that, there's no way for you to move on. Because what? Everything's impermanent. Right? So now here is a concept that now they apply in what they call here in Zen traditions, and even let me skip this one. I'm sorry. I need to. In Zen tradition. Okay, put on it out again. That's okay. You can find it later. But in meditation, in the what you call the secular mindfulness practice, they encourage or they have the principle for people to follow, let's say, non-judgmental. Right. With that pure mind, you can come by much easy. Non-discrimination and so forth. And that's just follow the same concept at this, what you call the emptiness here. And this is the concept here. Non-expectation and so forth. That's what they got from here. They got from this principle, from this non-attachment principle and so forth. Okay? So again, I think this will be applicable for you, or beneficial for you, if you understand this thing, this concept or principle apply to your life. So whichever relationship you deal with, you can move on. Instead of getting stuck or any situation that you get stuck with that you have hard time to let go, just remember that nothing lasts forever. Right? So let's move on to, let's see. You want to have you talk about this one before? You talk about this? No, can you talk about Asharia? What was about you?
Yeah. And then that's when he started establishing the consciousness school.
With this one, Pam, you want to say something about this? And then what about you?
Yeah, he's, like she said, that he spent a lot of time in Buddhism as well.
Yeah.
So he spent a lot of time meditating and in the cave. And during that time meditating, every 3 years, he just got frustrated and he was feeling depressed and discouraged that nothing. He trying to get to the enlightenment stage. So he kept meditating to the point that he was he didn't feel any changes within him. So he just gave up after every 3 years. So every time he wants to leave the cave and go home, he sees different events that inspire him. Like one was grow, the other one was water, and one grow water, and I think there's two more. But the last one was a dog.
What's about the dog then?
Well, the dog, that's his final, his last time. So he left. He left the cave for the last time, and that's when he found an injured dog. That was infected with worms, and he tried every way to remove the worm from the dog, but the dog every time with every method, the dog got injured and still cries, right? So he used his tongue to remove his own personal tongue to remove the worm, and as soon as he removed it, shining light comes up and Buddha, like that who appeared.
Betrayed Buddhist.
Yeah.
Betrayed Buddhist.
And invited him to, I don't know,
To see that.
yeah, to see that, to study the teaching of Buddhism around the world.
That story is very interesting. The last sentence that he complained when he saw the manifestation of the Maitreya Bodhisattva. You can hear his story? You follow his story? No? Alright, so basically the story is this monk, Ashtanga, is lived in the 5th century. And he stayed in the cave to do meditations. Somehow it took too long for him to attain something. So later on he's so discouraged that he wanted to give up. But 3 times before he gave up, somehow something happened. He saw a bird that fly in and out of the cave that imprint its feather on the rock. And also he saw that the second one, sometimes when he almost gave up, so he saw a drip of water that made the hole on the rock, and so forth. The last instant that when he went out, so he saw a dog that infected with half of its body was infected with worms, and so he's so compassionate, and he used a stick, right, to stick out all the worms from the body of the dog, and the dog still crying. So he used his hand, his finger and hand to take them out one by one, but this dog is still crying. So later on, he used his tongue to take out, or the mouth to take out the worm one by one. At that moment, because this is compassion, that moment, the Bodhisattva, Maitreya Bodhisattva, that's means the next Buddha, manifests himself for him to see. So Ashtanga, he compared, wow, I have encountered all kinds of difficulties, but now my mind is so calm. You come. What did you come before? To help me out. And why you wait for me when my mind is so calm and now you appear? It's unfair. So is this Bodhisattva saying, wow, I was with you all the times. You don't see that. So that is why in Buddhist tradition that the teacher is always ready, whether you're ready or not. That's your problems. So if you have the sincere mind, everyone is a teacher. Even if you sign up with a great professor from Harvard, from MIT and so forth, if you come to class and you don't study, this is nothing changed, not much beneficial. You understand that? So anyway, so that's the story about him. So according to the legend, so somehow every day at night, somehow he entered samadhi, and somehow his consciousness, the spirit, went to see the heaven. That's where this Bodhisattva resides, so that he can study with you. And during the day, he lectured, he taught that teaching from this Bodhisattva, and that's why he trained what called the school of consciousness only. Let's talk about consciousness. And according to the Buddhist traditions, even the Theravada and Mahayana traditions, we believe that the Maitreya Bodhisattva, that's means the next Buddha, he's still in the Tushisha heaven, and we come down here in Buddhist view about 500 million years from now, according to human time frame. So anyway, so he every day, every night he went up there to study, and during the day he gave lecture, and later on he developed that type of school, the school of consciousness already. And all right, so next one here, Vasubandhu too. Jessica, you read something from him? Yeah.
So I found that him and his older brother, his half older brother,
Yeah.
they were founders of the I also know that he wrote literature. I don't know how to pronounce the literature.
Yeah, Abhidhamma.
Yeah, but it was like one of the most talked about literature. Like even now, people still study it. And he was also, I don't know what religion he was before or what aspect of Buddhism he was before, but he like transitioned into Mahayana.
Yeah. So at first, like his brother too. Actually, what? Yeah, let them hear from others. About Dennis, you want to say something about him?
Pretty much in addition to what she said, Vasubandhu, he studied under many like different colleges and monasteries for Buddhism, and from there he kind of like, he gave him a better like cultural sense to Buddhism, and he was able to kind of like go out to these different monasteries and universities and teach these different versions and ideals of Buddhism. And so one of his works was, he worked on like the five aggregates, the conscious self, the physical self, and the conscious self. And he wrote like Treasury of Abhidharma, and that's all I have.
Okay. You here?
Oh, that's my name.
Oh, you use the whole name? Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's different. Okay. Oh, anyway, so again, Vasubandhu is half brother of Asanga. Again, this is a story that both of them, even Asanga, before he followed the Rada tradition, the Rada still conservative tradition. We talk about that, right? So from now on, you recognize one is the conservative, one is liberal, one is northern, this one is northern, this one is southern tradition. So there's the two main traditions after the four Buddhist council. So at first, Sangha and Vasubandhu too, they follow this conservative traditions. They draw so many commentaries about the traditions. But somehow, for even Asanga, he didn't satisfy himself, so he moved on to Mahayana. That's when he met Bodhisattva, Maitreya Bodhisattva, to learn that teaching. The teaching was conscious only. And later on, his brother, half brother, Vasubandhu, he is famous writers, philosophers in Buddhist tradition too. At first, yes, he wrote some commentaries, Abhidhamma in the Theravada traditions, but later on he was convinced by his brothers, his half brother Asanga, that he converted himself to Mahayana tradition, and he wrote some Abhidhamma's books or commentaries book. Their story is interesting that at first Vasubandhu he criticized the theories and practice of Mahayana, the liberal one. But later on, one day, Asanga, as with his half brother, he pretended to be sick. And yes, Vasubandhu came to visit him. And at that moment, Asanga explained to him the Mahayana Buddhist principle so lofty that Asanga, he read that, oh, I have criticized Mahayana teaching and so forth. I want to cut off my tongue to repent my karma. So him, Hasbro, said, no, you don't need to cut your tongue. No, let's waste your time and harm yourself. Now, instead of cutting your tongue, you use your knowledge, you use wisdom to write or to applicate the Mahayana principle. So from that time on, there was so many Buddhist commentaries, and then it's even if you type his name on the Amazon.com, there's so many books that he wrote, and it's been translated into English already. So this is, if you want to learn more in depth about this psychology, that's what this book you may need to learn later on. Right? So now, before I move, actually this one is related to, number 4 is related to these two philosophers, Julia. Alright, I want to talk briefly about the Buddhist I consciousness. We talked briefly before, right? Because these two philosophers, they consider as the founders of this school of consciousness only. Here, these are the basic principles before you finish this class, so you can remember how Buddhist psychology come about. Alright. So remember I taught you we have the five sensory consciousness, right? Like the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, and so forth, right? We have the six. That's a thought. It's blurry. And five senses, like the eyes, we have the sight, the taste, the smell, and so forth, right? That's the five sense has the five consciousness that I show you last time, and the sixth consciousness like the thought, as that discriminate things. Okay, and the seventh is the one that attached to the ego, and identify itself as ego, as a real self, and this number 8, the alaya, that means the storage of your memory. Remember that at night, when you go to sleep, most of the time, right, in your dream, you may be a different person, is that right? And when you wake up, are you here? This happened to everyone. It happened to me too. When I took a nap in my car, somehow I went somewhere else. I was a different person. But I wake up, oh, I'm here. I say, why? Why? Because the alaya, remember I told you, the storage consciousness store every information since the past. Remember, in Buddhism, when we talk about the past, that's infinite past, and infinite past time, not one lifetime.
Some dreams can just be dreams though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all kind dreams, all kind of dreams.
Okay.
There's just one type. In Buddhism, it's just we classify as different type of dreams. Even when you, let's say, when you're sick, you have different type of dream too. When you sit nearby the heater and somehow you fall asleep, in that dream you may see that you touching the fire and so forth. And if you somehow you came outdoor in winter, right? And it's so cold when you fall asleep, you may see that you sit or you stand on the ice and so forth. So this depends on your physical makeup, your physical contact with the environment that make your brain, right, to have that type of dreams. Another type of dream is that sometimes if your intuition is so strong, you may have some dreams that you see this person before. Is that right? It's happened to some of you? Right? So that's been used. It's not you're not smart, but your intuition is strong and it's sensitive. Right? And even you know, especially the relationship between the mother and the children, the mom and the children is so strong that if something happened to the children, the mother would sense about that. You feel that? Or sometimes, okay. So anyway, so all kind of dreams that you may see, but still again, and some kind of dreams, some image, pictures, informations, or people we associate in the dream, probably we have seen them in the past. Or even, sometimes have you seen that you fly around?
Yeah.
Wow, that means you came down from heaven. It's not kidding. Yeah. Yeah, and if you see that you growing, that means you came from somewhere down there. Yeah, so that's, you know, in our dream, we turn off the sight, the hearing, the touch, the smell, and so forth. We turn off our five sense. The only things that appear is from here. You understand that? If you see yourself running around, if you see yourself somewhere else, that means you've been there before. You were there before. It isn't one. This is not an absolute blue, but this is the possibility there. Alright, because this alaya, remember, is for anything, every information there. Of course, when we talk about past, we talk about since we were born, but in Buddhism, this go far in the infinite past life. In every life, we store all kind of information. Not talking about when we was young, right? When we attend kindergarten, elementary school, preschool, high school, and now college. All kind of information we store here. It's still here, right? It become our mind. Could you remember something happened to you when you were 6-year-old? Could you remember? Only some strong, some striking incident you could remember, right? But you could not remember all. Unless you calm your mind out and try to remember. That's what happened to Buddha. When he had that type of clarity in his mind, and he could remember infinite past life appears and after all the people. Because everything's stored here. It's still there. So that's and remember, this is mana, the 7 consciousness attached to the ego, attached to the I. Let's say, this is my laptop. I want to keep that because of attachment of this number 7. Number 6 is the Buddhism thought or consciousness. You understand that? Right, so if you, let's say if you see, okay, again, sorry, I use your laptop, okay? Oh, this fancy laptop, I like it. Oh, so number 6, consciousness, analyze, this fancy one, this is a lovely one, that's number 6. And number 7, it's mine. I want to keep that. That means when at that moment you think, this is my laptop, you store that information right here. Remember I told you, if you meet with anyone else on the street, right? If you feel, let's say, if you say, you like that person is so beautiful, handsome, so forth, you store that image here. And when later on, few years from now, right? A few years from that time, the time that you met with that person, when you met again, I remember that. You understand that? And even me too. I finished my college degree in electrical engineering in 1990. Of course, for 4 years in college, I studied so much that I could not remember all, but something I could remember is still inside my mind there. Right, doing the lab for making the what you call electronic lock and so forth. Back then, we didn't have much access to internet. I remember that at my university, Penn State University, at that time during the 80s, we had huge building for what you call computer mainframe. I think you were not born that time yet, right? You heard about the computer mainframe? It's huge. Of course, now it's different, right? It's not easy during those times. Anyway, so I still remember some, let's say, chemical formulas, right? That I learned before. So do you. So I mean that all things that we learn, we see, we test and so forth is here. Like let's say if you go to Thailand, right, and somehow you look around for food, and somehow you encounter banana. You understand that? A Burger King, you would go there because you identify the cell and you feel familiar with the food, the taste of food. that you test here, right? Okay, so again, so that's what this is about. The same thing. So when you see the sign, especially the thing you like and dislike, you will store here. If the thing you see, if the thing you heard that you don't pay attention, or you put down or let go, you won't store here. Whether it's good or bad. You understand that? That's especially for the children. Like you are mom, right? You mother, you know. For the children, it's easier for them to learn good and bad things, right? It would imprint in their mind because the mind is so fresh. Whichever thing we teach them, it will imprint in their mind. If we store in their memory, that's what they call the C drive of computer, right? The storage of computer, yeah. And because it's added cell, that's what the A contract is for. Again, so this is store everything here. Okay. Now, okay, let me move on. Let's see. Okay, now talk about number 5. It's very interesting. The concept of Buddha nature. You want to say something?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, what I had read was Buddha nature is in all living creatures, not just specific to humans, because obviously all living entities have the ability to come back to something else through their karma.
Yes.
So it lives in everyone. The ability to have wisdom and compassion were the two primary ones within Buddha nature, and obviously the ability to create your own actions and therefore have your own karma is important to having the Buddha nature. It's indestructible in the heavens. Buddha nature exists in a constant state. But in the mundane, conventional world, Buddha nature comes and goes because we are human. And there is some, like it's a key to the Mahayan ideal, what I just talked about, but there's some conflict in Zen practice, obviously, because Zen practice, their foundation is meditation. But some of them believe that meditation leads to enlightenment, and some of them believe that it is the Buddha nature that actually leads you to the enlightenment, because you wouldn't have gotten to the point of wanting to meditate in the first place without having the Buddha nature within yourself to want to be enlightened. So it's like this, you know, is it the chicken or the egg? Is it the meditation that takes you there, or is it the fact that you have the Buddha nature within yourself and you acknowledge it, that you want to go meditate in order to be enlightened?
Say something?
Yeah, a good analogy that I read that kind of summed it up was a lotus flower. And that when the lotus flower is first as a bud, it's very ugly.
Yes.
And that you can't see what's within the bud. And that as it opens and blossoms, there is more layers to it. And then the Buddha nature would be the inside of the lotus flower.
Okay.
And then it's there. It just takes time and practice to get it out.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and they also said, I can't remember if it was in the text or somewhere else, or it said, it's like trying to get oil from a rock. Like
Yeah.
You can't squeeze, it was in the text, wasn't it? Like you can't squeeze oil out, it'll never happen because it was never inside to begin with, but with a sesame seed, you can eventually get it in some sort of way to where the oil will eventually come out because it was within it. It had it inside.
Right. But there's always potential for it to turn into that. Because
Exactly.
it's there.
And then no matter how bad or horrific any living being is, they still have the Buddha nature within. It's just a choice of whether it's cognizant or they're aware or not. It's still there no matter how. And that's why bad entities can become good entities, because eventually the Buddha nature, you acknowledge it and then you can choose the good path.
Okay, so if you, later on, if you investigate or if you study more about Buddhist principle, especially with what we call the true truth here, you would understand this. Remember last time we talked about Shirama Sutra? We talked about the false mind and true mind. Remember? And now let me ask you, when we talk about emptiness, we say, oh, emptiness is permanent. Is that right? It's even the ego, right? It's even the I here, right? The body won't last long. And how about the thought? Our thought constantly change, right? Change movement from movement to another movement. So there's no real ego here. So why, when we talk about the Buddha nature here, is that real? Buddha nature here, is that real? Is that last forever? What do you think? Is there any conflict of this? The everlasting Buddha nature and there's no real ego. Is that conflict there?
Well, no. Buddha nature is always the positive. It's never like what's the word? You're not seeking out for yourself. You're just trying to become better. Like that whole like we all depend upon each other. Like you're trying to elevate yourself to be better for the, I don't want to say the rest of the world, but there's some. Do you know what I'm talking about there?
I don't really even understand what he's asking.
You don't understand?
I don't understand what you're asking.
He's asking if there's a conflict between Buddha nature and then the ego. Like, are they the same thing, and do they conflict against one another? But what I'm saying is Buddha nature is only positive. It's not like whereas ego can be negative or positive. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think the concept of the ego within Buddhism, the way I understand it, is like your consciousness.
Okay, that's good.
But the way I understand Buddha nature is the potential to become a Buddhist.
Okay.
So it would be kind of within the ego.
Okay. You're most there, yes.
The Buddha nature is the true mind.
Okay.
Basically.
Yes. But any conflict, because in one way, right? We talk about everything is impermanent. Another way is that yes, we have the Buddha nature. Every sentient being, even the ant, even the bugs, has Buddha nature. That's there within our own sentient beings. No exception. That means everlasting Buddha nature. Is that in conflict with, oh, there's no real self, yes?
So the real ego like brings you away from the Buddha nature because you're instead of like you're deluding yourself from the true mind because you're relying on your ego to like make distinctions about stuff. I don't know. I think that's the main idea.
Let me explain to you let me explain to you in the practical sense so that you can recognize. Let me go back here, right? Back here. Okay, here. Yeah. In Buddhist view, this one, the story consciousness, what we call even in one of the Buddhist commentaries on philosophy, it's talk about that we need to clean up this storage, this memory.
Because there's a storage site for memory, but there's no soul.
That's the point. There's just some kind of confusion here, but they want to clarify.
Don't say it.
Alright?
Yeah.
And one thing, remember I told you about, let me go back to here. This is emptiness here. Sometimes if you don't understand, this may be confusion. Here's important things. Now attachment, balance, oneness and so forth. I'm sure let me open the file here. You remember this one? What do you look like? This one, what does it look like?
The first one, yeah.
One is beautiful lady, beautiful girl, right? Another one is the old lady, right? Can you imagine that?
Oh, yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's illusion there. And look at here, pattern too. Right, so it depends upon how we view things. Okay, let me move down here. Here. Again, let's go back to the definition. What's the Buddha? Buddha has been awakened, one or enlightened one, the one who recognizes. There's two aspects of Buddha, especially profound aspect, the specific aspect. The absolute reality that permits all the beings. Buddha is a sense everyone of us are not aware of Buddha nature. That's one aspect. Another aspect is the world that we to one that have awakened. All right, let me move to this one here. Here, this is secular mindfulness trend, and this is what they call mindfulness-based resurrection, developed by John Kabat, and he utilized this Buddhist practice, this Buddhist principle, for establishing what they call the 7 attitudes of a meditators. Beginner mind, non-judgmental, non-striving. Beginner mind doesn't mean you have fresh mind. Whenever you come to class, whenever you go somewhere else to study, right? If you have beginner mind, you'll be more open to learn. Right? You say, "Oh, I learned already. I don't need to learn more." So there's no use for you to learn. And non-judgmental. And let's remember, the reason why we stress out, because we disseminate this and that, right? We more selective, right, for the good and delete or reject the bad and so forth. Understand that? When someone says something, even before we listen the content of that person's explanations, we would judge, oh, he says something bad about me, without understanding the content first. You understand that? Because we have that kind of prejudice toward that person. Or on the other hand, that's the one we love, whoever. Remember we know that love lies us, right? We love that person so much, whether it's girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever he or she say, we love them. We love him or her. Make sense? So we could, because of that attachment, we're not impartial with that person. That's why in meditation, they utilize this type of principle, non-judgmental thought, beginning mind, and so forth, to calm the mind instead of staying in the two poles, the poles of like and dislike, the pole of attachment and rejection. That's our pure mind. That's the nature here. That's our true mind here. You got my point now? You follow me? Right? So again, I want to use this kind of analogy so that you can remember. Right? This one is attachment, and one is anger, or rejection, or anger. And in the middle one, we never stay in the middle. It's not easy for us to stay in the middle. Whether when we deal with people, when we buy something, or when we see something, most of the time we either stay in this pole or another pole, like or dislike. You mention that. That's why we have the kind of affliction. That's the mental affliction. That's why we stress out if we don't have the thing that we want to. If we stress out, if we encounter someone who irritates us. Make sense? So that's why in this principle, we recognize this is our nature here. That's a Buddha nature here. That's a neutral route here. Non-judgmental. Instead of a swing back and forth between two poles. That's Buddha nature. That's a true mind. the mind, the calm mind, the peaceful mind, without any kind of mental fluctuation here. You see that? You understand now? Okay? So that's why they apply this Buddhist principle in, again, non-judgmental, begin mind, non-striving too. Alright. Okay, so let me move on here. And here this is non-judgment awareness. Okay, so let me give you one example before I move on. Like why people doing meditation, especially like breath meditation. Have you done this? Who are doing meditation now? No. No.
Not every day.
Not every day? Okay, that's fine. Alright, but how many of you have done meditation, some type of meditation before? How many of you? Okay, so you have some kind of experience. Let me give you one example of how to invoke this type of nature, this type of true mind, in practical sense. Let's say when you do the counting of the breath, what we call breath meditation, we just follow the breath in and out naturally, without any kind of judgment. Understand that? That's the way we change our mind right here. Instead of judging, oh, my breath is too long, my breath is too short, I don't like it. Oh, I like it. Make sense? So we train our mind to be here in the neutral realm, and then with this true mind, with this balanced mind. You understand that? That's a practical sense. When you have that kind of calmness, that type of stable in your mind, when you deal with this, you remain calm. No matter what people say, no matter what whoever people that you encounter with, you remain impartial because of this. Make sense? Otherwise, your mind will be frustrated, especially when you go to a party or when you have any kind of abuses with other people, right? So that's in the Buddha nature, true nature. True mind is applicable in this present moment. This is not in theories. It's not in principle. It is but in practical sense. Okay. So let's move on here. Are you here?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're sorry. I forgot your name. So what do you think about the Tantric channel? What's it about?
I was really confused.
I know.
Because I wasn't, because when I was doing my research and reading throughout the book, I saw a lot about like tantrums, but not much about the tantric channel specifically. But the main topic that I saw that like was referring to tantra was like yoga and meditation. I'm not sure what exactly what it was talking about. That's good.
Okay. Christina, you here? Oh, okay. Let me show you. Probably, yeah, this is the confusion, but unless you practice, you see, unless you practice the Tibetan tradition, otherwise it's no way for you to understand this thing. Here's the idea. Here's the idea. Okay. You know aura, you know our first one is aura, right? In Buddhist tradition, especially in the Tibetan tradition, somehow it's an influence from the Hindu tradition, Hindu Tantric tradition too, but still, according to them, what we call in our body, we have what we call 7 chakra. Have you heard about this? Right? The top and so forth. So the way they do is that they want to activate this kind of chakra so that the energy could flow smoothly and so forth until you obtain enlightenment and so forth. Here, let me go here. This is so, you guys know about acupuncture?
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you done? It's scary?
No.
It's painful?
No.
Oh, you enjoy that? Oh, well, you know
Is
that.
that the thing where they put needles in?
Yeah, that's what we call acupuncture.
I don't understand exactly like what it is
Oh, really?
and what it's supposed to do.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen it like in movies.
All right. You done before?
I do it every week.
Every week? Oh, you go somewhere else? They have this what service? How is it expensive or cover in?
I mean, I have flexibility for it, I budget for it.
You do mind to explain what's acupuncture about?
So I've actually been seeing her for like 11 years.
Wow.
And her name is Kathy Tang, by the way, if you're interested.
Yeah.
So you just go in there and she's a doctor. And so you tell her what you're struggling with or what's going on. And then based on what's going on with you at that time, they select different points to place the acupuncture needles. And what it does, it actually opens up the energy within your body that is blocked, causing those problems.
You feel the change? You feel
Almost
the effective immediately?
Yeah.
Who else? Who have done this before?
I've done it, but it didn't really work for me.
Depends.
It didn't hurt either. It was just.
It's like anything though, right? Like doing it once or twice might not do anything. Because I mean, whatever's going on probably didn't happen overnight, so it's not gonna get solved overnight. I mean, that's how like all alternative or non-Western medicine works. You know, they will always tell you, a good practitioner will always tell you that however long that you've been suffering with this problem, that's how long it will take to fix it.
Yeah, reasonable.
Right. It didn't happen overnight, so you can't expect to, I mean, we are such a microwave generation, we want to push a button and it be done. That's not how it
No,
works.
it's the times. So have, besides, you done that every week, once per week or?
Well, I was first introduced to acupuncture actually when I was in the Army and when I was living in Korea because I started having like severe debilitating migraines like out of nowhere. It was like I turned 30 and I had migraines and like I couldn't get rid of them and I had like vertigo and like aura and like it was like really, really bad. So they had sent me off base to a Korean acupuncture neurologist. Like he was a neurologist who also did acupuncture because oftentimes, like she said, they're a doctor who specializes in many things, and so he started treating me first in the ear and then on my back, and then from all the surgeries that I had, I started getting treated for those as well. And it actually does, like you build up, they call it like a threshold or a tolerance with it, and some acupuncture, they actually leave it in. Like so with my ear one, for my migraines, it was almost like getting like a small ear piercing. It was like a little metal or gold or nickel, whatever it was, stud. They would like stick into the one, to release that, the chakra type pain, and it actually helped immensely.
Yeah. A friend of mine had her labor induced through acupuncture.
Yeah.
She went to acupuncture and within 24 hours she had a baby.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that though with massage as well. Like they tell you if you're like within the last 2 weeks of having a baby not to go get, because massage does the same thing that acupuncture, which you're releasing the different chakras as you go throughout the body. And so if they get in there and work those, then you can actually, like my stepmother has sent 3 people into labor being a massage therapist. Because you're releasing the tension and then the body relaxes and then it's like go time.
Who have done the acupuncture before? You?
Oh, no.
Not yet? No. All right. So here's what we call the meridian along the body. In every part of our body, everywhere is meridian point, what we call the pressure points, acupuncture points. That they say you know, right? If you have headache, so they use needle to press down somewhere out. I don't know how to release that type of energy.
And it really doesn't hurt. I mean, like, it's almost like tingly, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like that little
warm.
Yeah, it feels warm and
Feels like
tingling,
warm
that's kind of
and
funny to say.
Yeah.
It feels warm and tingling.
If the good acupuncture doctors, whenever they put the needles into your body, you feel the energy flowing
Oh, yeah.
on the spot. Yeah, of course it takes time to depend, I don't know, but depend on the skill of the doctors. Yeah, but that's the top is the danger.
That's for stress.
That's the danger one.
That's the best one, that feels so good.
Oh, really?
These are for, I always ask her which ones are for which thing.
Yeah.
And
This
the
is my
symbol that she
favorite.
puts here is stress.
Doesn't it feel so good though?
Yeah.
But according to the Chinese acupuncture doctor, this is good answer one.
It feels
If they make the wrong move, they may disturb your nerves out here.
Luckily, I'm
Otherwise-
a neurologist.
Yeah, anyway, so again, the reason why to bring up this one because it's related to the tantric channel that I want to discuss about. It's in our body. Here, this is seven, what we call seven chakra. And we remember in Buddhism, we don't accept the best tantric traditions. They emphasize on this practice of the tradition. There's no freedom. So they have crown chakra, third eye, fourth, and so forth. I don't know much about them because I don't want to spend more time on this. It's a deal with the tantric tradition too. So each chakra has some special functions. If you want to write a paper about that, that's right here. You see that in the body, like acupuncture points, acupuncture mirrors, just all kind of channel. Right here, like this one here, that along my body. And the reason why sometimes if we're angry, because somehow according to the tantric tradition, that our energy was blocked. Or even when we're sick, right? When we feel tired and so forth, that's our energy was blocked. That's why in tantric tradition they want to invoke or to focus their mind on certain type of channel, certain type of what called the winds and the drop, a channel of consciousness. And they say that the reason why somehow, even it happened to me to sometimes I have good time for doing meditation, but sometimes it's not. So according to them, probably because the channel, some of my channel was blocked. That's why when they sat there, sometimes fall asleep and so forth. So again, so this is the idea, what they call the tantric channel there. When you really focus on your mind on that some specific channel, it will have your energy to flow smoothly in your body, and it would help you to feel healthy, it helps you to refresh your mind and so forth. Like when you drink water, you feel refreshed. When you consume the food, you feel full and so forth. Alright. Okay, so let's see. How about we do one more question before we move on? Before we disperse, okay? Let's see this one here. Sam, you want to talk about the Shingon? What's about?
Okay, basically it's just like a sect of esoteric Buddhism. So it arrived in Japan by Kukai in the 9th century. So, and then at that time, no one really accepted it until finally, he was known as a famous calligrapher. So the emperor noticed, and then so the emperor just like, I don't know, they got together and then they made the monastery, what is it called? Hold on, give me a second. I forgot. Oh, the Mount Kiowa Monastery. That was the first Shingon monastery. Kukai learned from this Chinese guy, Hui Gao. That was before he went to Japan to teach the Shingon Buddhism. But yeah, that's basically what Shingon Buddhism came from, all the tantrics, all the tantras. Yeah, and then they just say to realize enlightenment, you gotta meditate, visualize, chant, and do other rituals. That's all I have right now.
Miss Pearl, you like to say some more?
It's basically what you just said, and also that Shingon tends to kind of focus on Buddhist deities in their mandalas, and so there's 4 types that they're specific towards, and so one is the Maha Mandala, the Bija, the Samaya Mandala, and the Karma Mandala, and then so they just kind of focus, and then they set up these shrines dedicated to, like different bodhisattvas, etc. And yeah, that's basically.
You like to say something about this?
He was a Japanese Buddhist. He learned his teachings in China. That's what the website I read said that. But that those teachings actually died out in China, but it's still like prominent in Japan. So I thought that was interesting that those teachings originated in China, but they died out in China.
Yes. How about Jesus? You want to say something? about this?
Just, I guess, to add on what they said, Shingon more or less teaches that the pure truth, the universe, cannot be expressed in words, but through art. And there's a lot of like different maps of the cosmos, I guess you can say, as from the website that told me. But there was 2 in particular. The Wu Mandela, I don't know how to say that word, it's like Garbahatu. It kind of represents like the matrix of the world and what's in front of us.
Where's the paper? Who have not done the paper? Can you, yeah, go ahead, yeah, please.
That Mandela, and then I was reading off my computer, but my computer died. So,
All right, that's all right. Okay, so we'll try to if you have not have any copy for your paper, please try to. So see you next Tuesday then. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.